Hello beautifuls, this is From here. Welcome back to Ozmafia. We're here with Axel at the place where we woke up because he questioned us about everything, I guess. Mr. Axel, you really don't remember anything before that? His words following the long silence made her blink. When I returned from my patrols, you were lying on the couch. That's how we met. Your situation was explained to me, but I just couldn't accept it. Do you really not have any memories before then? Yes. I understand that you're not a member of another family, but I still... There was a sudden explosion. A shockwave erupted behind them, strong enough to make their hair fly back and pin their clothes to their bodies. What was that? Several figures were outlined in the white smoke. A familiar man stepped out from among them. Greetings again, my prey. Mr. Caesar. So you remember my name. Caesar snorted and unfastened another sword. He switched from wielding a single longsword to dual blades, pointing them both at Michiko. Today you're mine. You'll have to go through me first. Axel raised his shotgun and moved between them to protect her. You're outnumbered. You should have run away when you had the chance. Kill him. At Caesar's command, the other men charged forward. Axel snapped his gun into a firing position and pulled the trigger. He missed the man he had been aiming for, but the blast chopped into the support of a nearby awning. Within seconds, they had collapsed into the alleyway, briefly stalling their attackers' advance. Sometimes Emporium comes in handy. Go back to the mansion, guest. Huh? But, Mr. Axel, I'll hold them off. But, just go! I hope you're ready for what's coming your way. I'm always ready. Oh, he looks super badass right now. This is my job after all. Can you not say it like that? Doesn't sound very charming. Once I get back to the plaza, I just followed the red brick road. Michiko was running just like she had on that fateful day, fleeing the exact same man from the exact same place. But unlike that fateful day, now she was familiar with the streets and people she passed. Even if she stayed, there was nothing she could have done in that situation. She would have only made things harder for Axel. I had to tell someone, I had to let them know, and soon. I'm sure Mr. Aromie and the others will be able to do something. Oh, Signorina, why are you in such a hurry? Mr. Aromie, Mr. Kyrie, I was gonna say something else. I don't know what I was gonna say. Help! What's wrong? Is Caesar chasing you again? He's not chasing me, but Mr. Axel. Mr. Caesar is after Mr. Axel. So that gunshot earlier was Axel? Yes, he said he'd hold them off so I could get away. He's such a troublemaker. That he is. Well, let's return to the mansion like we planned. You're going back? But what about Mr. Axel? Leave him. He'll manage on his own. But he was outnumbered. If you don't hurry, he'll... Really now, he must be putting up a good fight if you got this far without injury. That's really all that matters. Putting up a good fight. A cap is nothing more than a sacrificial pawn, after all. Miss Crimea. I'm sorry, Signorina, but I agree with Kyrie. I'll send some scouts out, so please come back to the house with us. Man, he's just a tool? It would be nice if he would just stay in the forest like a good little feral wolf. They were in the office in the back of the mansion. They spread a map out on top of the big table in the center of the room. Michiko and Kyrie were sitting across the table from Aromie. Where's Axel? The scouts are reporting that they couldn't find Axel in the alleyway. Oh no, was he kidnapped? Yes, they probably took him to the forest. Right there. As you can see from the map, the town is encircled by a wall. The people who live in the forest outside the wall are the wolf gang. If they kidnapped him, they'd probably take him to the forest or the slums. Which is under the... sewage? The slums. Now everyone living in this town accepts the rule of the family. It's its gray district here, created by those who despise the ruling class. Right now it's a perfect breeding ground for criminals. The rival families aren't the only ones who have conflicts with them. We have more skirmishes with residents of the slums than anyone else. Caesar's group, the Wolfgang, is a group of anarchists? Composed of people who left out of distaste for the town itself. That said, it's still not very clear exactly where Caesar himself came from. Considering where Caesar tends to operate, the forest seems like the more likely option. That's assuming that Axel isn't sleeping with the fishes already. Sleeping? Don't be so vulgar around the Signorina. Alright, maybe we should get something to eat. Karemia rolled up the map, put it back down on the table before standing and stretching. What would you like for dinner, Signorina? I want carbonara. Are you a Signorina? Are you a Signorina? Michiko was deeply confused by how normal the two of them were acting. But what are we doing? What are we going to do about Mr. Axel? Nothing. Huh? Did you not hear me? I said we're not doing anything. But isn't he an important part of the family? Yes, he is Family Oz's cap, and protecting you, one of our guests, is an important part of his job. But these are separate issues. Do you feel the same way, Mr. Karemia? Yes. Axel's situation is a family problem. There's no need for you to worry about it, or get involved, Signorina. Forget about him for now. How could I? I think I'm going to go back to my room. What about dinner? I'm not hungry. Alright then, I'll save a portion for you, so please eat whenever your appetite returns. Never. It will never return. Her stomach grumbled at the moment she made it back to her room. I guess this is what they call playing the martyr? What? But I can't eat at a time like this. I can't just forget about Mr. Axel. She took off her shoes and lay on the bed. Feeling something underneath her, she sat back up. Oh, Mr. Axel's cookies. Oh my god, this is sad now. She'd forgotten she had them. Both the wrapping and the cookies inside had crumbled. Oh, had crushed. I bet Mr. Axel is hungry. Why do Mr. Karemia and Mr. Kyrie talk about Mr. Axel like that? She was perplexed and saddened by how they were so much colder and less kind to him than they were to her. If only I hadn't been there, then Mr. Axel wouldn't be... She gulped as a vortex of guilt engulfed her. Mr. Caesar was chasing me after all. I wonder if I can save Mr. Axel if I go to Mr. Caesar's camp. She shook her head, trying to shed her anxiety that Axel might already be... If I can save Mr. Axel, then I should go find Mr. Caesar. No, don't be stupid. Let's think logically about this. Oh my god, sneaking out of the mansion was even easier than Michiko had thought it would be. Maybe it was because it was Sunday evening, but the town was just as busy now as it had been earlier in the day. If I remember correctly, to get outside it was right once to get off Olive Street. She put her hand on the tower and remembered the map as she looked around. Right that way. I finally got out of town. She made quite a few wrong turns, but she eventually found her way past the walls. She wondered if everyone lived inside the walls. Even though the town had been so crowded, the area around her was completely deserted. That's the forest Mr. Karemia and Mr. Kyrie mentioned. She took one of the two streets leading out of town. When she got over a small hill, she could see a thick patch of forest. She was all alone and going to an unfamiliar place. She'd be lying if she said she wasn't afraid. You can do this, Michiko. Even though you might die, you can do this. She made a fist and cheered herself on. With the breeze of the hill playing with her hair, she began to make her way into the forest. The moonlight. Oh, that looks creepy. The moonlight she'd been relying on earlier was now obstructed by the treetops. The leaves of the tree were in a constant motion. Was it the work of the beast, or just the wind playing tricks on her? Michiko made her way further into the forest as her eyes acclimated to the darkness. It turned out that even through the canopy, the faint moonlight was still enough to light the way. I can see a lamplight, and I hear voices. She didn't know who the voices belonged to. It sounded like several men. Hey, you! She turned around, startled by the voice behind her. You're the woman our leader's been looking for, ain't ya? Leader? Do you mean Mr. Caesar? I came to surrender myself to Mr. Caesar. I want to save Mr. Axel and... Oh, really? A vulgar smile appeared on the man's face as he grabbed Michiko's arm. He dragged her towards the lamplight. She was terrified and wanted to run, but the grip on her arm was so strong that she couldn't get away. Hey, y'all, the prey came to get caught. About 10 men were sitting around the roaring fire. Instantly they stopped their drinking and merrymaking to stare at Michiko. Now that's interesting. Better tell Mr. Caesar right away. He said he'd be out until morning. Oh yeah, I thought there was something like that. Then how about we get a taste before we hand her over to Mr. Caesar? Cut it out. What if she's the pure maiden? The boss tear your limbs from limb. Let's tie her up with the other one. Is Mr. Axel? No need to hurry. You'll see him soon. She was tugged along by the arm as they cut right in front of the bonfire. A skinned rabbit on a spit was cooking over it. The charred mass beside it had probably been a rabbit too, once upon a time. The smell of blood and burning flesh made Michiko turn away. Just a taste couldn't hurt, right? right, little lady? No. A drunk man reached out and grabbed her calf. As she tried to walk by, the sensation of his rough skin against hers sent a chill down her spine. Please stop. Let her go unless you want the leader to kill you. Be a good boy and make do with the with the whores in the slums. Excuse me? Wow. Oh, give me a break. What if I catch something? I think dying from disease would be preferable to getting tortured to death by the leader. Fine. She felt slightly relieved when he finally let go of her leg. Of course, she couldn't be completely relaxed in her current situation. All she could do was keep walking forward as the hand on her arm dragged her along. The rabbit meat cooking in the fire crackled and popped ominously. So, what does Mr. Caesar want us for? Meanwhile, just as Kyrie was about to step into the kitchen, a soldado stopped him. He told Kyrie that several reports had arrived before handing him a stack of memos. That sure didn't take long. Kyrie took the papers with one hand and dismissed his subordinate with the other. He leaned against the wall and glanced over the pages. My, how selfish. He put the pages in his pocket and then pulled a wine glass from the cabinet and poured himself some water. He wrapped the glass in a silk handkerchief to avoid getting his clothes wet. So, do they know I ran away? Kareemia, about the situation. Nothing answered him but the sound of slow, steady breathing. When he walked over to the sofa, he found Kareemia sleeping soundly. How dare he? Kyrie sat down on one of the sofa's armrests, taking a sip of water from his glass. When he slowly tilted the glass over, just above the sleeping Kareemia's head. Whoa! Good morning. If you keep falling asleep right after you eat, you'll soon become a rather rotund lion. Okay, he's a lion, but who's he? Well, couldn't you have woken me up a little more gently? The only reason I didn't use tomato juice or milk is because I wanted you to think I was being conscientious. Kyrie tossed a handkerchief you'd wrap around the glass at Kareemia. Then the Don used it to wipe his face off before glaring back at him. Things appeared to be moving as would anticipated. I see. How's it look? Can't say for sure yet. I'm sure I'll be able to figure out something. Wait. What? I'm sure I'll be able to figure something out with my capabilities. I don't know what I'd do without you, Kyrie. I don't either. Of course I don't intend to kill myself over such matters. Wait, what? What is going on? Be a good girl. Making a fuss ain't gonna do you any good. Ow. Why are you here? I wanted to save you, Mr. Axel, but then they caught me. What do you think I was buying time for? It was so you could get back to the mansion safely. Oh, he's all bruised up. I know that, but both Mr. Kareemia and Mr. Kyrie said they weren't going to help you. They weren't in the wrong. That was the natural decision. Please don't say that. Aren't you all close friends? It's my fault this happened to you. I just couldn't stand by and do nothing. So I came to talk to Mr. Caesar. I was going to ask him to take me and let you go. Did you really think you could just negotiate with these people? Well, you're an idiot. Can you not imagine what hell they might put you through? I know everything's going to be okay. I was alone in the beginning anyway. Family Oz has done so much for me. I just wanted to bring you home, Mr. Axel. Guest. Oh, I do not approve. Huh? I protect the family with all my body and soul. Those are the rules. Not only are you a guest, but the Don instructed me to treat you as a member of the family. You are not alone. I can't say your actions were even remotely worthwhile, but I do appreciate the sentiment. Mr. Axel. It sounds like something's happening.